When COVID hit, I caught a glimpse behind the curtain. I saw the bits and bolts that hold this thing we call society together. I realized how fragile it all is, much more so than I could have or would have ever imagined before the Rona. A cheaply assembled particle board facade from a children's puppet show. It reminded me of when still a child myself, Sharon, Lois, and Bram came to visit my school. Them or a group like them. From where I and the other kids sat in the crowd, what was presented to us and viewed from intended angles was a clear picture into a magical world. It was simple and effective. Are you not entertained? It all seemed so vivid and real. The longer I looked at it, the more I was convinced it might actually be possible for this place to exist. The bright colors of animated mushrooms and rainbows told more of the story than the actors moving around them. The curtain would close, props would move, and a seamless continuity would keep us all captivated for as long as the show went on. At one point I got up to go to the bathroom, and in the hallway beyond the specter of the gymnasium I saw what none of my schoolmates did. Behind the bright colors, nuts and bolts and plywood were used as stands with ugly metal strip backings. I saw all this, and immediately the spell was broken. As a child, once before, and then again as an adult when this pandemic enveloped the globe, I caught a glimpse behind the curtain. In fact, we all did. Myself along with the rest of the entire world. We all got to witness firsthand how easily and quickly what we think of and take for granted as normal life could fall apart. Our stomachs turned watching our so-called leaders awkwardly fumble and lie, trying desperately to display that they had anything even remotely resembling some level of control when it was obvious that they did not. These were just the puppets trying their best to put on a show to carry on with a narrative as the scenery started to shake and fall apart around them. On the news, our leaders spoke with smart-looking people in lab coats standing near them at the ready. The politicians spoke, and smart people didn't. Oh my God, there's no toilet paper, and the smartest among us don't even get to talk. That realization was terrifying. In this moment I thought, what's the point? What's the point in worrying about my job, my boss, my bills? None of that matters. Who cares about debt-to-income ratios and credit scores if life as we know it is about to change or possibly end? Our modern civilization dangles from a thread, and there's no toilet paper. There's no toilet paper? Of all the possible things on which to hedge your bets when the shit hits the fan, nothing demonstrates the ridiculousness of our human reactions during the onset of sheer panic more than the rows of empty shelf space at markets where once this personal hygiene product could easily have been found. People started to panic, big time. How funny it is if we simply follow this behavior and thought process further than the average Joe exotic obviously did. If resources become scarce because supplies or delivery actually become an issue, rare would have been the family that shits more than it eats. As far as I know, toilet paper is vacant from any representation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and yet, here we are presented a time in which even the wealthy could not find any to buy. For my part, during the madness, I bought 2 large bags of rice, a little extra fishing gear, and some extra bullets, just in case. And then I went completely nuts, and spent every cent I could charge onto my credit cards towards anything I think I might need if there was a lockdown and I was forced to flee into the woods to avoid starvation. A lockdown. Yep. One day I'm thinking about how scary it is that there are sick people in China, and the next day the news is reporting about possible mandatory lockdowns with supporting images of police-enforced house arrests in other countries. I decided right then and there that the world around me is complete nonsense and that crazy people might not be that crazy after all. After a summer of unemployment because governments basically shut the entire world down, I was summoned back to work. Once there, I caught myself flipping through months on a calendar to see when my future paydays line up. After working a month with 3 pays within, I was scanning ahead to see when it would occur again. While doing so, it occurred to me that what I was actually flipping through was my life. I will never get these days and weeks back. The random tasks I perform will need to be repeated at some point by myself or someone else. My completing them serves the company only a little and myself even less. I don't want my life to be just a sum of paydays sprinkled with enough money to eat and a few days off here and there to keep me sane, but that's exactly what it is, or what it's become. The work time frame I casually thumbed through would equate to very little by way of any monetary compensation in comparison to the large portion of my life that would be consumed. My job is not difficult or fulfilling, challenging or enriching. It's just mundane, uninspiring, repetitive, and not worth trading my time on this planet for. I like to do and experience things. I like to learn and fail and win and lose. The Rona has opened my eyes. These months that I so carelessly fanned through would likely be during a time when my body and mind are capable, perhaps most capable. I now understand why some of the elderly take great care not to injure themselves, for they know that at any moment it could all end. Life is fragile and once lived too short. So you know what? Screw this company. Yeah, this company, and pretty much every other one that determines how much I get paid and how long I'll need to work during my day, week, month, year, life. Yeah, screw all the companies. And the government that takes my money and determines how to misappropriate it. And the banks that charge me more to loan me other people's money than they pay me to use mine. I want to live my own life, not simply exist between paydays funding government and industry. Is that one word or two? Time for a change that's been long overdue. After seeing all this, I can no longer rely on government to decide what is best for me. I need to be independent. I will be.